Alright, so we have reached the final section of this week's topic, and we're just going to introduce methodological rigor as a basic concept, and then we're going to look at it in more detail based on the studies that you guys have looked at, the studies that you use for assignment 2, and the project that you are developing for assignment 2. It's important to realize that methodological rigor is a concept that each study engages with differently. It's not a formula that you have to follow these fixed steps, and if you just follow this procedure, your survey or your study will be rigorous. It's not like that. It's not so easy. You have to consider the specific topic, what other researchers have done. You have to apply the concepts that apply to your study and explain which concepts don't apply. But what is methodological rigor? It is essential to the integrity and overall quality of the research. It is not a fixed measure, it's a quality that relates to your project. Three indicators of methodological rigor are generalizability, validity, and reliability. So let's take a look at each of these. I've assembled here a couple of quotes from my study. The best way to really look at these concepts is to look at how they're applied in individual studies. So let's start with reliability. Reliability refers to whether the same results can be attained on different occasions or by different people, and to the process of carrying the research out. Is it carried out with integrity? For example, falsifying data means a repeat study will not replicate findings. If I told my participants what answers to put in the survey, if I tried to influence the data, if someone else carried it out on a different occasion, it will mean that they will get different results simply because I cheated, basically. So you have to be committed to research integrity, to present the data accurately, to collect the data in in a reliable way, basically, so that a repeated study should yield similar results. Secondly, validity refers to the actual method itself. For example, the survey. Is your survey appropriate for the subject matter? Now, if I were to randomly come up with a survey that, say, measures mental health, but I have no knowledge of psychology, I don't know the field, it's not my area of expertise, what I'm going to come up with is a measure, is a method that is not valid because I don't know what I'm doing. You have to choose a reliable method, measure, a survey, or interview questions based on the field, based on previous research, such as in literature review. Sometimes people use already established methods, for example, a simple scholastic aptitude test, or a mental health test, or prejudice tests. These are scales or methods, surveys that are already designed and well tested, so that amateurs like you or me, we're new to this field, we don't try to come up with, like, reinvent the wheel and come up with something we know nothing about. But when you are an expert in that field, when you have studied and dedicated the time to develop the questions, to really test the survey, etc., you will come up with a more valid measure. Finally, we have generalizability, which is whether research is transferable and repeatable, meaning that the sample that you choose, does it tell you about the larger, say, student body? You interview or you survey 100 people, and using this data, can you learn more about all the students at Monash? Now, if you only interviewed female students, or if you only surveyed engineering students, you won't know about everybody at Monash, because this is not a representative sample, and therefore your study findings are difficult to generalize. So something that you can say is, well, because I used a convenient sample, meaning a group of people that I could simply find to do the study that weren't necessarily selected specifically to represent the entire Monash student body or all the university students in Malaysia, the sample does not represent represent any group apart from itself, and the results are not meant to be generalized to the wider population. So it doesn't mean every quantitative study must be generalizable, but you must engage with the concept of generalizability and compare it to the methods that you use, the people that you sample, the survey that you carry out, and you compare these things to your actual study, to your plan of study, to your proposal, and you discuss them. So you must, in your presentation for assignment, to discuss reliability, validity, and generalizability, as well as methodological rigor in general. We will be covering all of this in more detail in the tutorial and in subsequent weeks.